Hey, what's going on, guys? Thomas here. I'm a filmmaker out of Atlanta, and today we're going to be looking at Hollywood movies to help us improve our wedding films and B-roll.
How do you want it? Gonna back that thing up, or should I push up on it?
How many times has a client called you and said, I want my wedding video to be cinematic? And you say, what do you mean by cinematic? Now, you already know what they mean. You just want to make sure you're both on the same page. In some cases, the client won't know how to truly articulate what they mean by cinematic video. But we know what they mean is that they want their wedding video to look and feel like a big budget film. Lighting, composition, and story are all things that are going to play a factor in creating a wedding film that feels like it should have its own movie premiere. So why not look at the techniques from the movies we love to give the wedding films we create a similar feel? With that said, let's use our first movie to talk about giving your wedding film some consistency. Look no further than The Godfather if you want to see a film that has a consistent look. The movie cinematographer Gordon Willis put a lot of focus on his lighting techniques and composition when making the film. What is most important is that Gordon Willis had a vision and a plan for how every scene should be shot. So while there's definitely an art to getting fancy B-roll shots, remember that there's also an art to giving your film a consistent feel and tone from start to finish.
Admit what you did. Get him a drink.
One way you can instantly step up the quality of your film is with your white balance. Either have a warm tone for your film or cold color tones. Your film is going to look less professional if your color temperature is changing from one scene to another. Also, are you going for a bright and airy look, or are you going for a really contrasty look? Either is fine, but what I love about The Godfather is the consistency from shot to shot. You also want to watch your exposure. In The Godfather's wedding scene, even though they're outside, you can still see all the details in the bride's wedding dress. If you're outside filming your couple and it's too bright, don't be afraid to ask the couple to move to an area where the light is softer. For this particular wedding my wife and I shot, we really wanted to film the first look by the lake, but it was around 2 p.m. and way too bright in the area that we wanted to film. So we opted to film them under trees with even shade. Even though we were now in a shaded area, I decided to use an ND filter for the shots so that I could have more control over how exposed the background was. The most important thing is to just pay attention to the basics and be intentional with the look of your film. You'll be surprised how a consistent look can make your film look more cinematic rather than just trying to put your focus on fancy gimbal shots. Now let's really dive deep into a wedding scene in a film. Now, when I mention this movie, don't you click away. Hey, I'm watching you. For some of you, this is probably your favorite movie anyway. The wedding scene I want to talk about is from Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1. I know, Twilight. But this scene is really good, and I'm sure once you see it, you'll agree that we should inspire to be able to shoot a wedding scene like this. We start out with a shot focused on all the guests as they stand up to get ready for the bride's entrance. I don't think in any of my films yet that I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to get a fantastic shot of the guests as they stand up for the bride's entrance. But I will now. Look at this low shot of Bella's dress dragging along the beautiful moss, almost to tease the audience for those who can't wait to see what her dress looks like. And then the filmmaker was so intentional with the close-ups of the bride. You can't tell me that you don't feel Bella's nervousness as she walks down the aisle when you look at these shots. Quick crowd reaction, and then a slow push in to reveal the groom. Let's look at how they filmed all the details of the dress as she walks down the aisle. Most of us show the details during the prep shots in a wedding video, but what if we showed the prep and then didn't show the bride's dress until she walks down the aisle? That would be really different, and you would build up some anticipation. Remember, all of your wedding films don't have to be the same. Okay, so maybe you're not able to do all of this during the actual ceremony. If you try, I'm sure you end up on a Facebook photography forum with some photographer talking about how you were in every one of their shots. For the right wedding, you can definitely ask your clients if they wouldn't mind doing reenactment shots after the ceremony. Basically, after the ceremony, you will ask the guests to stay seated, and you can have the bride come back down the aisle and make sure to get some cinematic goodness. Not all your couples will want this, and you don't have to do this for every wedding. While we're on wedding scenes for movies, we just have to talk about the wedding scene from Crazy Rich Asians. This wedding is spectacular.
Stars are tracing the sky like city windows. I watch you reflect in your eyes. You are a part of me. This way.
So obviously, the decor in this scene is beautiful. And that goes without saying, as this is supposed to be a $40 million wedding. And if a lot of us would have booked this wedding, we would have probably put most of our focus on the decor. And while the decor definitely deserves a 128 gigabyte SD card worth of TLC, the most powerful moments in these scenes were courtesy of the close-ups and not just of the bride and groom. If this scene was just full of epic wide shots, it would have still been breathtaking to see, but eventually it might have started to feel sterile. But the close-ups in this scene revealed the emotion within the characters' eyes. There is absolutely no dialogue in this scene for a little over a minute. The story is moving forward entirely by the close-ups of not just the bride and groom, but their guests as well. So for your next wedding, during the ceremony or the toast, try turning one of your cameras towards the guests so we can see what they're feeling too. When I first saw this movie and the wedding scene started, I thought to myself, if I booked this wedding, how would I have filmed it? How many videographers would I have needed? And how much would I have charged? So if you're a wedding filmmaker, leave a comment below with what you have needed as far as crew and budget to pull this wedding off. Anyway, while the scene we just explored from Crazy Rich Asians showed us how to put more focus into intimate close-ups, The Great Gatsby shows us the power of medium and wide shots. B-roll is a really popular topic on YouTube right now, from cool handheld shots to trendy in-camera or editing transitions. And I'll admit, when I'm putting out my shorter Instagram teasers, I definitely try to push the envelope with my shots just a little. But for my clients' longer films, I try to take a simpler approach to the edit and the shots. The Great Gatsby is filled with beautiful wide and medium shots to reveal the epic locations and luxury. And as amazing as a lot of these shots are, most of the shots are simple gimbal or tripod shots. I love this slow pushing shot using the trees to shape the architecture. Then next, we have a basic lockdown tripod shot. So if you don't have a drone or gimbal, you can still get beautiful shots. It's all about being creative and finding the perfect placement for your camera. Wide shots are important because they help your audience to visualize the space. The time of day you're filming is really important as well, so you might want to get your exterior shots of your venue in the early morning and evening to see which looks best. I do a lot of travel weddings, so if I'm going to be in the area for a few days, I will knock out a lot of my exterior shots of the venue the day before the wedding. The interior shots of The Great Gatsby are just as impressive as the exterior shots. All wedding videographers are really blessed as we get paid to film in some of the best locations. So really make the best out of every opportunity, and as time allows, film every inch of the wedding space. If there is a detailed floor, film it. If the ceiling is well designed, film that too. In The Great Gatsby, I love how they captured Daisy, played by Carey Mulligan, flowing through the mansion. On your client's wedding day, you can do the same thing, but just put your own spin on it. A lot of my favorite shots were a little bit lower than eye level. At my wedding receptions, I try to get a lot of my wide shots at a similar height. For me, that is slightly above table level. When I want to go for a more dramatic feel, I will put my camera way closer to the ground, way below table level. When your camera is this low, everything feels more grand and larger than life as you're making the audience look up at all the beautiful decor. The low table shots are also great because they bring the chandeliers and ceiling details into view. However, don't just focus on wide shots though. Get some close-up overhead shots of the tables to show off all the beautiful details. You film weddings. Don't be ashamed at all. You're still a filmmaker, so use all the tricks and techniques from Hollywood cinema at your disposal to tell better stories and get better footage. The most important things to remember when filming your client's wedding is to have a plan and think about how each shot will help your story move forward. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I have a lot of great content lined up for you guys in 2020. Starting now, I'll be releasing videos every Wednesday or Thursday, so consider subscribing. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you guys next time.